Hi, good morning and welcome to today's video presentation where we're going to talk about repotting your tree. Now just to let you know, when you first receive your tree, it's not necessary to repot it right away. A lot of people keep it in the same container for up to a year. There's no rush on it. In fact, you can wait at least a couple weeks. We actually recommend you wait a couple weeks. Let the tree get acclimated to its new environment and try to not to put extra shock because it has traveled for several days to reach your destination. Now, when you repot your tree, you're going to need some supplies. The first thing and the most critical thing is the pot you select. And a lot of times if you go to a regular nursery or big box store and you're looking for containers to repot your tree, a lot of them, if you look here, actually do not have any drainage holes at all. This would be a serious problem. Citrus trees need drainage. It's very critical to the health of the plant. If it doesn't have good drainage, that water sits around the roots and the roots actually begin to rot, and when they rot they don't have that capacity to carry nutrients up to the canopy. Okay, after you've done it, the process of selecting a pot, the critical thing is also not to get a pot that's actually too large. You basically want to upgrade. If your pot, the original pot that it's coming in, if it's like an 8-inch pot, you only want to expand up to about a 12-inch pot or so, maybe a couple inches on each side and no more than that. Once again, if the pot is way too large, it's really hard to monitor the water moisture in that particular pot. So once again, drainage holes are critical. So get one with adequate drainage holes. And if it doesn't, make sure you punch those holes out and you drill them in large enough so you get really good drainage. Okay, the next thing, the other supplies you got to seek out, and this is what we recommend. If you've actually planted for the first time, it's a product, it's called a root stimulator. Getting those roots healthy, getting them growing for your new plant is really critical because what happens below the soil is as important as what's happened in the canopy. So we want to get that tree a nice, good, healthy start, get those roots going. Better root system, better fruit production, better canopy, better health of your tree. So the root stimulator will actually help, once again, get those roots going, get them active, get them nice and healthy, and get them growing. The other thing is selecting a good potting soil. We recommend an outdoor potting soil, one that drains well. There are several different types. Just regular outdoor potting soil is good. The other one is one like for rose bush and stuff. I particularly picked this one out. It's a Fertilome Ultimate. It drains good. And the other thing is it doesn't have wetting agents. So when you select a potting soil, try to find one that doesn't have wetting agents. You can actually look on the ingredients, and this particular one doesn't have that. The reason is the wetting agents causes the water to adhere to the roots. And once again, if the roots sit in soggy water, if the water's clinging to it, they'll tend to die off, and once again, they'll lack the capacity to bring nutrients up to your canopy. So you want to select an outdoor potting soil, one that doesn't have wetting agents. There's some people you can actually amend if you'd like. I've had seen some people pick out like hardwood chips. Hardwood chips for like a hardwood like an oak or cedar or something like that will be good too. You can kind of amend your soil with that if you desire. Maybe a third, a quarter of that particular blend will work good. Some people pick out cocoa fiber because cocoa fiber once again drains well, it's lightweight, and it works really good. Today we're not going to do any blending, but I'm going to go ahead and use this Ultimate Potting Mix because once again it drains well, it's lightweight, and it's really good for citrus. We don't recommend using regular dirt from your yard or anything like that. Those are usually very heavy, retains water, it's not really good. So go ahead and go with an outdoor potting soil, and I think you'll be really pleased with the results. The last thing, if you have a chance to get, is what's called bone meal. Bone meal is a great product for mixing with your soil when you do your first transplant. It's very healthy. It's got a fertilizing capability that's specifically designed for the roots, and it will also help the roots. So I'm going to use a little bit of bone meal today, and I'm going to use the root stimulator and this one I repot. Okay. When you first receive your tree, once again we recommend you waiting at least 2 weeks before you even think about transplanting. We also recommend you can keep it in that particular pot for up to a year. And what some people do if they don't want to have that, they want a little bit of decorative, is basically you selected a nice pot, you just take this inside of here, you can build it up, and then boom, you can set it in that and leave it in the original container. You can leave it in this for a year, and so you don't have to transplant right away. You can actually have a really nice, good show, looks good, and you can still get access to water. It will continue to drain. So that is another option for you. But if you're at that point where the roots have grown around, it's root bound within that container, it is time to transplant. So, what you want to do is build that bottom layer up a couple inches, because you want to have it where that crown's coming maybe about an inch below that pot right there. You don't want it to be too high up, because that would, you don't want to cover up the crown, because that actually damages the roots. So on this particular one, when I set this in here, I need to build this up about a couple inches. Okay, I've gone ahead on this and I've placed about 2 to 3 inches of our potting soil down here at the bottom, so it'll raise that crown up a little bit, so it won't be real low in this pot. But I'd also recommend to you, if you're concerned about water on your carpet or in your house, obviously get a collection plate. This one particularly has raised ribs, so it'll actually help you with the flow of the water coming out of the pots, and you'll be able to identify if you've done a good job watering. So I'm going to go ahead and slip this underneath the pot. I am going to take my plant here and I'm going to go ahead and lift it out of the pot. Just kind of work it out, discard that. If you've noticed right here, it's become root bound. So you kind of want to shake, you want to move this around a little bit, you want to loosen that soil up. You kind of want to break those roots up in there, allow them to get through. So I'm going to just loosen this up, get those roots moving, get them ready so they can go ahead and grow into the new material. And at this point, once you just jumble that up a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and place that down at the bottom. Check out the height. The height works really well on that, right about that point here. And from this point forward, I'm going to go ahead and refill this back in with the topsoil around that particular part right here, around that root ball. Okay. I have finished filling this base up at the bottom with not only that, in the sides with our potting soil. Once again, use a potting soil, an outdoor top potting soil, one that doesn't have wetting agents, it's light, and also will provide good drainage. I have used some bone meal, and I've used some root stimulator, and I've placed them in a water bucket because we want to go ahead and water this. I followed the instructions on the package for both the bone meal and the root stimulator. Once again, this will provide a really good dose of fertilizing for those, specifically for the roots. Helps those roots get in there, helps them grow, helps develop, and because once again, what happens below the soil is as important what happens in the canopy. A good healthy root system will provide, on this particular tree, there's a lot of blossoms, there's a lot of good stuff happening here, and you want to continue that after you get your plant. So I will go ahead and water. And I'm going to water this until I start to see the water come through the drainage holes. And I'm starting to see the water come out, so I've completed. And your tree will be good, healthy. It'll enjoy its new container. And wishing you the best of success in your citrus growing. Thank you.